Welcome back to Combat Mission Black Sea, Dance of the Javelins. Time for some post-game thoughts and analysis. First, a big thank you to Requin for the game and for making videos from his point of view. It definitely adds to the game for me when I can see a battle from the other side. And a big thank you to all of you who watched and commented. Now to the game, starting with two somewhat minor points. I noticed while watching Requin's videos that he spends much less time on the replays than I do. And I do think Requin missed a few important details. And that's fine. Everybody should play the way they enjoy most. And I like spending a lot of time on the replays. In fact, one of the reasons I don't do just an unedited view of my turn is because I think it would be extremely boring to watch me go over the turn for 10 plus minutes every time. But that is the way I enjoy to play. However, Requin's shorter replay viewing did make a difference in some circumstances, and I'll point out two. On turn 4, Requin's Bradley killed 2 of my infantry units on the small hill, but he never spotted that on his replay. If he would have known I had more troops on that hill sooner, he could have reacted to it better. In a second example, I started targeting Requin's Jav team in the middle on turn 4. But as far as I could tell, he didn't notice until turn 10 when they suffered a casualty. He then tried to pull them back, but it was too late as they died on turn 11. So individually, a lot of these events are small, but I think there were a number of items like this that Requin missed, and it contributed to the snowball at the end. Another minor thing that made a small difference is having a really good understanding of the CM movement mechanics in order to do the most efficient berm drills. In modern CM games, not exposing your vehicles to anti-tank gun missiles and javelins is extremely important. But a key part of doing that in CM is knowing the exact mechanics for firing times for the javelins and the tows and the Bradleys. I think it's fair to say that Requin, being a self-proclaimed casual gamer, didn't have the timings for those mechanics down quite as well as I do. And I think it made a difference in a couple of Bradley kills that I got and a couple of Bradley kills that he did not get. Moving on to the more important things, I think the biggest difference in the game was that I had a superior force selection that matched the plan that I wanted to do. The cavalry squads that Requin picked are just not very good quick battle units in CM, since they have a significant price per soldier premium over the rifle squads that I picked. At regular 0-0, experience, motivation, leadership, the cav squads cost 20 points per soldier, whereas the rifle squads resolve to 11.4 points per soldier. And the rifle squads have a better loadout of weapons and equipment. Not only that, but each of the rifle squads can be split into 2 fire teams, which doubles your maneuverability. Another advantage my force selection had, and this is admittedly peak min-maxing, but I should note, I did offer Requin that we could not do any min-maxing on force selection and just stick with base formations, since he says on his YouTube channel that he's more of a casual gamer and specifically not a min-maxer. So I offered to play that way, but Requin declined that offer. So I was able to utilize cheap headquarter units as javelin teams. The Combined Arms Mechanized Battalion has extra platoons attached, but when I delete all the units except the HQs, I can then bump the HQs to elite experience with high motivation, and when they acquire a javelin, it turns them into super cheap and very effective javelin teams. The double bonus from that, and I think this is just about as important in my opinion, is that it frees up my rifle squads to actually function as an infantry role rather than having a whole fire team double as a Bradley hunter. And we didn't have many infantry versus infantry fights, but in the few that did happen, my rifle teams won the engagement against Requin's scout teams, which, all else being equal, the rifle teams should win those fights easily. And just to hammer away this point, Requin had 1 cav platoon, which was 4 3-man squads. I had an entire rifle company with 8 of its 9 squads. Requin added 7 teams to his cav platoon. I added 6 javelin teams, 6 ad hoc headquarter jav teams, and 3 sniper teams. So I just had much bigger and more effective infantry force for this map. Now Requin did spend a lot more points on artillery, and the artillery that was used to deny my wood line did accomplish that task, and that seems to be points well spent in my opinion. But I don't think he got very good value from the other 105mm artillery. With that same amount of points, he could have gotten 5 more javelin teams, or another Bradley and a javelin team, and those probably would have functioned a little better. That being said, I do believe the second artillery would have been a good investment for Requin if things had gone more according to Requin's plan, which was to let me take the middle objectives and then to blast me with that artillery. So that could have gone well for him. However, my plan was to take my right flank in strength and then press hard with the infantry Bradley javelin combination, and that worked really well against the force combination that Requin chose. As far as my plan, I was able to take the hill right away with minimal casualties, and then after that it was basically a slow and steady game of Bradley hunting and attrition. I do have some thoughts on how I would play this if I had started on the other side of the map, but I actually want to play that in another head-to-head game. So I'm not going to go into my potential strategy, and I'm actually looking for an opponent for a head-to-head US versus US game where I play on the red side that Requin played on, and I plan to do a video of that game. So if that interests you, leave a comment or find me on Discord. And until next time, thanks for watching and happy gaming.